We found a suicide map, and my friends pinned my location there. I wasn't ready to die. I never liked horror. Not in movies, not in games, not even in stupid ghost stories people tell around campfires. But when you're trying to make friends in a new place, you don't get to have preferences. You play along, even if something feels wrong. I just transferred to Westfield University for the fall semester. New town, new dorm, no familiar faces. It was lonely, so when a group from my philosophy class invited me to hang out, I didn't hesitate. There were 4 of them: Sean, Rachel, Carter, and Nicole. They weren't exactly friendly, but they were popular. If they laughed at me, at least I'd still be included. That Friday night, they invited me to Carter's off-campus apartment. I brought snacks. They brought a laptop, speakers, and some sketchy horror game files they'd pirated off a forum. Ever heard of Pinsite? Rachel asked, pulling up a web page. I hadn't. It looked basic, just a dark, interactive map of the US with hundreds of glowing red dots scattered across it. Some blue, a few yellow. Carter grinned and pointed at the top corner of the screen. Please read the rules before use. That's what it said. None of them clicked it. Supposedly, Sean explained, each pin marks a real suicide location. Click one and it shows the photo, where it happened, how it happened. Bodies, blood, everything. He said it like he was telling a joke. Like it was cool. I said nothing. They began clicking pins. First red, then blue. The screen filled with dim, grainy photos of stairwells, bathtubs, rooftops. Some had blurred figures. Others didn't bother blurring anything. Jesus, I whispered. Is this legal? Who cares? Nicole laughed. It's the internet. Then they noticed something strange. You could add pins. They tried it. Typed in random addresses. A Taco Bell, a CVS pharmacy, the university library. Yellow pins popped up in those places. Now we're part of the game, Carter said. Something about it felt wrong. Like we weren't just interacting with a website. We were altering something real. Still, I stayed silent. Then Sean said, Yo, let's find Jonah's dorm. Everyone laughed. I froze. They zoomed in. Clicked around. Found the Westfield campus. My building. My floor. My room. A yellow pin appeared right on top of it. There, Carter smirked. Now you're marked. They all burst out laughing. I laughed too, even though my stomach twisted. Even though I felt like something terrible had just happened. I didn't say anything when I went back to the dorm that night. They were supposed to crash at Carter's, but bailed at the last minute. Said they were too tired. Left me to walk home alone. It was 1 a.m. when I sat back down at my desk. The web page was still open in my browser. The pin, my pin, still glowed yellow. I clicked it. No photo. Just my address. I moved to close the tab, but something made me pause. I scrolled back to the top. Please read the rules before use. So I clicked it. The site loaded a black page with tiny gray text. My eyes skimmed over the lines, and one jumped out at me. Pins may be added and moved. They cannot be deleted. My hand froze. I hovered over my pin again. No delete option. Just move. No undo. I sat back, chilled. I didn't sleep that night. The next day, things were back to normal. Mostly. My roommate Ethan was gone for the weekend, and I had the place to myself. My parents texted me. My sister sent a dumb meme. Everything felt fine. Then Sunday night, I was scrolling through Twitter when I saw it. A local news headline. Tragedy strikes East Pine family in overnight suicide. I clicked. The photo showed a suburban house, quaint, gray siding, white shutters. I'd never seen it before, but something about it felt familiar. The address. That's what clicked. I rushed to my laptop. Opened Pinsite. Scrolled. Zoomed. Found it. It was one of the addresses Carter had pinned that night. I remembered it. He typed it in because the street name was funny. Now the pin was red, not yellow. I started clicking the other pins we'd placed. 3 more were red. The photos, they were real. Too real. I backed away from my desk, my heart pounding. Then, right in front of me, I saw it. My pin. Still yellow. And then, it flickered. Once. Twice. Turned red. My lungs locked. I clicked it. The screen went black for a second. Then loaded an image. Slowly. It was my room. My desk. Me. Sitting there. The image had been taken from just outside the window. I froze. Then turned. The curtain moved. Not from wind. From breath. Soft and slow, like something was waiting behind it. I stood. Step by step. Crossed the room. Pulled it back. And she was there. A girl, about my age, standing just outside the glass, 4 stories up. No balcony. No ledge. Just brick. She smiled. Softly. Sweetly. I'm sorry for peeking, she said. Her voice was distant. Cold. But, can you help me? I stared. How did you get up here? Her face twitched. Her mouth stretched open, too wide. Unnatural. Then she lunged at the glass. I slammed the window shut. Locked it. She began to scream. You have to die, you pinned the location, you have to die. Her fists pounded the glass. Her voice cracked like something broken. She didn't look human anymore. I backed away. Then I remembered. You couldn't delete the pins. But you could move them. I scrambled to the computer. Grabbed the pin. Dragged it across the map. Dropped it anywhere. The screaming stopped. I turned. She was gone. Just gone. I didn't sleep after that. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her, dangling just outside the window like she belonged to the wind. Eyes too wide. Fingers tapping on glass not to knock, but to claim. I woke up hours later with my forehead pressed against the desk. The website still open. The map still glowing. My pin was gone now, moved halfway across the state. Over a random park. The color? Still yellow. Maybe that meant I had time. Maybe not. I didn't tell anyone. What was I supposed to say? Hey, someone I don't know used a suicide website to try to kill me, and I survived by playing pin to death somewhere else. Yeah, that would go over great. I skipped class that day. Locked my door. Didn't answer texts. But I did check the news. And I saw it again. Another tragedy. Another home. The same random park I'd moved the pin to. The picture showed police, tape, covered bodies. I felt like I was breathing through glue. That night, Ethan came back. He knocked, cheerful as always. Yo, you alive in there? I jumped. My whole body flinched before I realized it was him. He looked at me. Dude, you okay? I nodded. Too fast. Yeah, I lied. Just didn't sleep. We watched TV for a while. Pretended to be normal. I thought maybe I was overreacting. That maybe, just maybe it wasn't real. Then I heard my phone buzz. Rachel had texted me. Did you hear about Carter? I froze. Another message followed. Don't freak out, but his house was on the news. I opened the browser. Checked pin site. That address? Red now. Red pin. Red photo. 3 people. Carter was one of them. Rachel texted again. It was ruled a suicide. His family too. He was found at the bottom of the stairs. But I talked to him like 2 hours before it happened. I stared at the screen. My hand shaking. He was the one who pinned me. Now he was gone. The next day, I went to the library. Public space. Bright lights. People all around. I thought it would help. It didn't. I brought my laptop. Opened pin site again. All the yellow pins we placed that night, most had turned red. One by one. Slowly. Quietly. It didn't seem random. They were going in order. Nicole's apartment was next. Then Rachel's. Then Sean. And every time one turned red, the others seemed to glow brighter. Like they were waiting. Like they were watching. I tried to call them. No one answered. By Thursday, I saw it again. Headline. Nicole. Friday, Rachel. Saturday, Sean. Each time, it hit like a hammer. Not just because I knew them, but because I had laughed with them. Watched them joke about it. Watched them place the pins. And I'd done nothing. By the next week, only one yellow pin remained. Mine. I stared at it. Clicking it over and over, hoping it would vanish. Hoping the map would crash. That the site would be down. Something. Anything. It wasn't. The image didn't load this time. Instead, it showed a blank screen with one line of text. Unresolved. Pending result. I closed the laptop. Slammed it shut. I needed air. That night, I asked Ethan if he believed in curses. He laughed. Like ghosts. No, I said. Like websites. Games that kill you. He stopped smiling. Dude, did someone mess with you? I didn't answer. Because I didn't know what I'd say. But he didn't press. Instead, he handed me a drink. Whatever it is, you're not alone, man. I wanted to believe that. I really did. But later that night, as I was brushing my teeth, I heard him from the other room. Hey, Jonah. His voice was shaky. Come here. I stepped out, toothbrush still in hand. He was staring at my laptop. It was open. The site was running. I hadn't touched it. The screen displayed my pin again. And below it, a loading image. My room. My desk. Me, brushing my teeth. I hadn't clicked anything. I slammed the lid shut. What the hell was that? Ethan asked, pale. I don't know, I whispered. Then, from the hallway window. Tap, tap, tap. We both turned. The curtains swayed gently. Like breath. Like waiting. I didn't sleep again. Not for days. And the more I stared at the pin, the more I realized something. It was never random. The pins weren't just locations. They were choices. And every person who placed one was giving permission. A place to die. A target. An opening. Carter had marked me. But I'd moved the pin. And now the pattern was clear. Every person who placed a pin, gone. And the pins? Still active. I clicked one. Carter's address. His family's image still loaded. Still public. Still part of the game. You could move the pins. But you couldn't unmake them. The next time I saw her, she didn't lunge. She stood by the window, smiling, waiting, and said only one thing. You still owe a place. I couldn't tell if I was being haunted, or if I'd just become part of something I couldn't undo. The website stayed open in my mind, even when the screen was off. I kept replaying what she'd said, her face flickering through the glass like a bad signal. You still owe a place. Not a question, not a request, a demand. It got worse after that. Ethan stopped sleeping in the room. He didn't say anything, but I caught the look in his eyes every time he saw my laptop. He was afraid of me, or maybe afraid of what might show up next. I stopped going to class, avoided people. Even when I went to the cafeteria, I sat in corners. Alone, my whole body always on edge, like I was being followed by something that never blinked. One night, I opened Pinsite again. All the pins we had added were now red. All but mine. And when I hovered over it, new text appeared. Deadline approaching. Choose. Choose. I thought it was over. I thought I survived. But surviving wasn't the same as being safe. I started researching the site. Not just browsing. I mean digging. Hidden pages. Forums. Old blogs. Most of it was garbage. Conspiracy theories, creepypasta reposts. People LARPing like they were cursed by a haunted flash drive. But eventually, I found something different. A post buried in a tech forum from 6 years ago. Titled, Don't Mark Your Friends. Don't mark anyone. It had no replies. Just one user. Null.33. They wrote, when a location is pinned, the site opens the door. The red means claimed. Yellow means pending. If you place the pin, you sign the paper. And if the pin isn't resolved, it circles back to you. The only way out is to pass it again. But if you do that, you know what you're doing. I shut the laptop. For the first time, I really understood what that meant. I couldn't delete the pin, but I could move it. I'd done it before. In panic. In fear. And that panic had killed someone. Some random person in a park. I didn't know their name. Never even saw their face. But I remembered the headline. They had 3 kids. I didn't want to do it again. But every night I waited, she came back. Not just at the window. In the mirror. In the sound of fingers scratching the closet door. In reflections where no one stood. In whispers that hummed under my breath when I wasn't even speaking. One night, I opened the map again. The yellow pin still glowed. The text had changed. Resolve location. Or be resolved. There was no timer. No countdown. But I knew. I knew it was coming soon. I couldn't eat. Couldn't sleep. My skin itched like bark was trying to grow through it. And then something happened that pushed me over the edge. Ethan came home early. I didn't hear him at first. I had my headphones in, music blasting, trying to drown out the humming in my skull. But then I saw him in the reflection of my monitor. Pale. Staring. At her. She stood behind me, in the corner. Still. Watching. He screamed. I ripped off the headphones, turned around. She was gone. But Ethan ran. Out of the room. Out of the building. He never came back. I got a message from him later. Don't contact me again. Ever. That night. I cracked. I opened the map. Hovered over my pin. Moved it. Somewhere far. Someplace random. A house I'd never seen. I don't even remember the address. But the moment I dropped the pin, the pressure in my chest lifted. The air in the room changed. Like something let go. And the yellow pin turned gray. For a while, I thought I did it. Escaped. Then the news broke. A photo of a house. Police. Sirens. A sheet over a body on the front lawn. I stared at it in silence. They hadn't released the names yet. But I didn't need them to. The map told me everything. That pin. Red now. But the game wasn't over. Not yet. Because that night, I got a new notification. From the website itself. A single line. Pin accepted. New location marked. I opened the map. My pin was still gone. But now, there was another yellow pin. And it hovered. Over the house of someone I knew. I stared at the screen for a long time. It wasn't just any house. It was Ryan's. He was one of the guys who came over that night. One of the 4 who pinned my location as a joke. And now, his house was marked in yellow. He wasn't just anyone. He was my friend. Even after everything. Even after the screaming in the window, the pins, the rules. I didn't want him dead. But the map didn't care. It never asked what I wanted. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in front of my computer. Every so often, I refreshed the page, hoping, somehow, the yellow would disappear. But it stayed. Pulsing. Waiting. At 2:17 a.m., my phone buzzed. It was a message from Ryan. Yo, you up? Something weird's going on. I didn't answer. Not right away. A few minutes later, another message. I think someone's outside. My dog won't stop barking. And then, dude, there's a girl out there. She's just standing. Bro, WTF? She's smiling at me. That's when I picked up the phone. Tried to call him. No answer. I opened the site again. The pin. Still yellow. That meant she hadn't done it yet. There was still time. I moved the mouse. Hovered over the pin. Dragged it away, somewhere random. A spot in Michigan. Dropped it. A moment later, the color changed. Gray. Like last time. And the pressure in my chest released. I leaned back in the chair. Shaking. I didn't hear from Ryan for 3 days. When he finally called, he sounded like someone who hadn't slept in a week. I saw her, he said, voice low. She was right there. On the other side of the glass. She didn't come in? No, he said. I blinked and she was gone. Just like that. Silence. And then, was it the site, Noah? I didn't say anything. He already knew. I thought I could carry the weight. That as long as I chose strangers, maybe the guilt wouldn't destroy me. Maybe I could keep moving the pin just far enough. Just enough to survive. So I did. Anytime the yellow returned, I logged on. Picked a random town. A house. A name I didn't recognize. I told myself it was the only option. And the site made it easy. There were so many addresses. So many dots on the map. It felt like the world was already full of ghosts. Like I was just shifting the spotlight. Then came the day I saw something I hadn't seen before. A new feature. A small tab in the corner of the screen. Labeled. Pin History. I clicked it. And that's when I saw them. All the addresses I'd ever moved the pin to. Each marked with a date. Each marked with a photo. Not just the homes. But the people inside. Some with faces blurred. Others not. One photo stopped me cold. It was a girl. Barely 10. Smiling in front of a birthday cake. I scrolled down to the date. 2 days after I dropped the pin. The headline beneath. Tragedy in South Carolina. Family of 3 found dead in suspected suicide pact. My stomach turned. I slammed the laptop shut. I couldn't do this anymore. I couldn't be the hand behind the deaths. Even if I hadn't meant to. Even if they'd done it to me first. I was the one keeping it going now. I was the one keeping her fed. I tried everything. I emailed the site's support email. It bounced. I tried to report the domain. But every time I clicked report, the browser froze. One night, I even tried to destroy the laptop. Took it out to the alley. Smashed it with a brick until the screen cracked open like an egg. But when I got home, my desktop computer was on. The site was open. Same yellow pin. Same address. Noah me. And that's when I understood. It didn't matter what I did. The map didn't live on my laptop. Or in a file. It lived in me now. So I made a choice. One I hadn't thought about before. I'd go back. Back to the place where it started. Back to Brixton Lane, the apartment where the 4 of us first found the site. I hadn't seen the others since then. But I remembered the address. The place was still empty. I logged in. Moved the pin. To that exact spot. And I waited. That night, no one screamed. No knocks on the window. No soft breath behind the curtain. Just silence. The pin turned gray. And I slept. Really slept. For the first time in weeks. But the next day, I got a message from one of the old group chat members. A screenshot. It was the site. The yellow pin was back. And this time, it hovered over a completely different address. The yellow pin was back. And this time, it hovered over my childhood home. I stared at the screen, barely breathing. That house hadn't been touched in years. No one lived there now. No lights. No cars. No people. Just old dust, peeling paint, and the memories I'd buried deep. So why now? Why there? I refreshed the page, hoping it was a glitch. Hoping maybe, just maybe, it would vanish. But it didn't. It pulsed. A single yellow dot in a sea of red. Waiting. I drove there that same night. It was almost midnight when I pulled up to the curb. The air was heavy. Still, not a single breeze stirred the overgrown weeds in the yard. My key still worked in the lock. I stepped inside and felt the memories hit me like a wall. The chipped hallway tile. The old coat rack still tilted at an angle. The silence. I checked every room. Empty. But something felt off. Like the walls were watching. I pulled out my phone. Opened the site. The yellow pin hovered exactly where I stood. A soft sound creaked behind me. I turned and saw her, standing at the top of the staircase. Not breathing. Not blinking. The girl from the window. From the glass. From the screams. Except now, she looked different. No longer angry. No longer twisted. Just tired. She spoke softly. This house remembers. I stepped back. What do you mean? She tilted her head. You think this is about you? She floated down the stairs, not walked, floated. Her feet barely touched the ground. I tried to run, but the front door slammed on its own. Sealed. The lights flickered. My phone burned hot in my hand. When I looked again, the site was gone. Just a black screen. One new message. You can't move the pin anymore. She was inches from me now. Close enough to hear her whisper. You passed it on. Again. And again. And again. Her face twisted, not in rage, but something worse. Disappointment. You never tried to end it. I stepped back. What do you want from me? Her eyes locked onto mine. And she said it, clear and calm. A name. I froze. What? You can't move the curse. But you can give it. I stared at her, realizing the site hadn't been punishing me. It had been testing me, seeing how far I'd go to survive. And now, it wanted more. One last trade. One last name. Not just a pin. A person. I sat on the dusty couch, trembling. The room was ice cold, but I was sweating. I could end it. Right now. Pick someone. Give them to her. She'd leave me alone. Forever. I scrolled through my contacts. Names and faces. Some I hadn't spoken to in years. Old classmates. Coworkers. Neighbors. I hovered over one. Ethan. The only person who ever tried to help me. Who'd seen her. And still stayed. My thumb hovered. But I couldn't press it. Not this time. I stood up. Faced her. No, I said. Her eyes narrowed. I'm not giving you anyone. She didn't speak. But something in the room shifted. The walls groaned. Dust rained from the ceiling. My phone cracked down the middle. The screen shattered. But I didn't move. I wouldn't run this time. If it ended here, so be it. Then she whispered. You broke the rules. I waited. Breath shallow. She raised one pale hand. Pointed behind me. I turned. And saw a mirror leaning against the wall. My reflection stared back. But something was wrong. It wasn't me. Not exactly. My face was the same. But the eyes weren't mine. And in the reflection's hand was a phone. The screen showed the map. And the yellow pin hovered. Over my apartment. Not this house. My apartment. Where Ethan was staying. I screamed. No. I ran from the house. Jumped into the car. Drove like hell. Blew every light. Didn't even stop to breathe. When I got to my apartment, the door was wide open. Lights flickering. Ethan was lying on the floor. Breathing. Barely. But alive. A single word was carved into the wall above him. Next. It's been 2 months. Ethan recovered. Moved far away. Blocked my number. And I don't blame him. The website? Gone. Vanished. No domain. No trace. But sometimes, when the house is quiet, when the lights flicker, I feel her. Waiting. Not angry. Not sad. Just patient. I haven't picked a name. I never will. But I know this much now. You don't play the game. You don't move the pin. And if you ever see the map, don't click anything. Because once you do, someone dies. Even if that someone is you.